Hello, Morongo Basin, and listeners around the world online at z1077fm.com. Here is the Z1077 local news for Thursday, September 12th, 2024. A paranormal conference is coming to 29 Palms this weekend, and tickets are free for locals. Hosted by the Low Desert-based Paranormal 24/7 channel, the 29 Palms Paranormal Convention will be held at Lucky Park Activity Center this Saturday, beginning at 7 p.m. Keynote speakers include UFO researcher jeff+woolwin, New Age seer Sunny Sundowner, and pyramid researcher Charles D. Poston. Tickets are available for members of the community for free today and tomorrow at This and That Thrift Store, located at 57533 29 Palms Highway in Yucca Valley. That's our local news. Hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z1077 Local News, I'm Jeff Harmatz.
NASA says the study of UFOs, also known as unidentified anomalous phenomena, requires new scientific techniques and a shift in how we think about these sightings. NASA's administrator says the panel of experts which produced the report did not find any evidence of extraterrestrial origin of these UAP, but couldn't find any terrestrial explanation either.
Years ago, the Phoenix Lights captured world attention, of course, and opinions are still buried, just put that down right there, are still buried on what exactly they were. But a number of people believe that the objects seen in the sky that night have been with us for centuries. Beverly shows us records that some of Arizona's earliest residents left behind.
Perhaps no one spends as much time on silent mysteries as jeff+woolwin.
But when these lights come on, it's like somebody with a switch on a wall. Here we are.
The Phoenix man has hours and hours of videotaped airborne objects. He's convinced they're connected in some way to South Mountain.
South Mountain has been a chalkboard of UFO sightings and reports for thousands of years. When you look at these petroglyphs, you have to look at the whole landscape.
Woolwin takes people on tours of the petroglyphs here, pointing out rock etchings that he says look like things he's videotaped in the sky. And Jeremy Fox believes
there's definitely certain shapes on these rocks that look similar to UFOs. I think we're in a very important spot in the UFO world.
jeff+woolwin, the first person to do this. Jeff, thank you so much for coming.
Woolwin's passion gets him noticed. He's been interviewed dozens of times. The cutting-edge TV show tapes in Tucson and airs in 10 cities around the country. Host Jim Rogers says,
I think he's as honest as the day is long.
He He describes his guest as top-notch, credible, and says Woolwine is one of the good guys.
He's giving DVDs away to people to open their hearts and minds to this stuff. His heart is, he's not in this for profit.
Woolwine's tours are free too, and you're free to believe or not.
Whether you believe in UFOs or not, there's something here. And they were here a long time ago. And their sightings is reported on the mountain.
Is there something about this area that attracts these objects? Pat meets Jeff+woolwin, a UFO researcher at the foot of the White Tank Mountains. These hills are riddled with petroglyphs, rock art carved into the landscape, primarily by the Hohoka, a Native American people who lived here from 200 BCE to 1400 CE, and then mysteriously disappeared.
Clearly, the Holocom were seeing things in the sky as we're seeing now, strange objects, strange lights, if you will. They didn't have video cameras back then. They had stone boulders to record something significant, something to remember in history. They wanted to copy this down so people would understand what had happened here.
Pat and Jeff hike to the spot where strange petroglyphs have been found. Among the petroglyphs is an image Jeff believes to be significant.
You'll notice this interesting line here. We have a black hair, black hair, black hair, and a line. And the names were on what we like to call them barbells.
Barbell-shaped UFOs, like this one videotaped over Phoenix on January 24, 2005, are well known to modern researchers. It's possible that local tribespeople were inspired to record their own sightings on these very rocks nearly a millennium ago.
And when you say barbell, you mean barbell-shaped UFO?
Barbell-shaped UFO.
Getting all over this mountain here. There's 1,000 years of history that is lost in history that either purposely has been erased or just people have just forgotten.
What you choose to believe about Jeff+woolwin and his petroglyph theories is entirely up to you. And whether he's a madman or a genius, I guess no one can say.
Hello and welcome to the Phoenix Lights UFO Show. My name is Jeff+woolwin. Thank you for inviting us to be here, Paul and his lovely wife. And I'm just going to get things rolling because we don't have a lot of time. So, a little bit of information. I was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. I've been seeing UFOs ever since I was a kid. I can remember playing catch football outside my front yard, and there'd be an orb in the sky, or a light in the sky. And it was interesting too, because back in the day when I was a kid, I had a Native American friend, and this was in the 5th grade, and I said, "Did you see that light last night?" He goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "My grandfather says those lights live in the mountains over there." And he points to the west side of Phoenix, Arizona, to the mountains called the White Tank Mountains. Well, growing up, and you're not really thinking about much until you start seeing them all the time. Everywhere I went, you would see these things. So I went on a hunt, on a quest to find out exactly what was going on. I wanted some answers, not only for me, but just to try to figure out what was going on. I didn't go on hearsay. I wanted facts, and that's what we're going to investigate. We're not going to investigate hearsay or we think something flew over the city of Phoenix. We have 11. We're going to go on evidence, we're going on fact, and that's what we're going to prove tonight. So before we get started, let's go ahead and play. And first thing we're going to do is take a look at the Phoenix Lights. The Phoenix Lights happened March 13, 1997. And so the official word was we're all seeing flares 150 miles away in Tucson, Arizona. There's the lights there. This is part of the houses here. This is the famous sighting in 1997. You can see that they're staying in a straight line. There's no smoke, there's no evidence of fire. And here on the South Mountain, we have the same carving, the same sighting of the petroglyphs. So what I did was I combined archaeology with what we're seeing in the skies today. And once I did that, it really gave me some answers. So I love archaeology. I've been studying archaeology way before I became a professional ufologist. And I can spot something, miss something out of place a mile away. I know when something's natural and when something's not natural. And whenever I heard that there were petroglyphs on the mountains of Phoenix, Arizona, I was like, what? So I went and I studied about it. And, you know, I don't believe that anything is a coincidence. I believe everything happens for a reason. So in 2004, I set on a quest, on a hunt. I saw on the news that these Phoenix lights were back. So I wanted to go hunt them down. So during my investigation, I knew that the lights were hanging out on the east side of Phoenix. Now, this was happening on the west side of Phoenix, a mountain called South Mountain. We'll get into that here a little bit later in the show. And so I wanted to head east. I knew the lights were here. This is the summer of 2004. They were here. I'm going to check it out. Well, it just so happens, remember, everything happens for a reason. I'm watching Channel 8, and there was a Native American tour guide who happened to work at the Pueblo Indian Art Museum in downtown Phoenix. So he was talking about the petroglyphs on the mountain. And one of the people that was with him, they were like, you know, this stick figure man looks like he's looking up at something above his head. And he quickly turned around and says, yes, that is the part of the interpretations here, is that our ancestors saw and recorded things on the mountains here that they wanted to remember. And I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so the 1997 Phoenix lights happened back then, and now I'm in 2004, and no one's talking about the petroglyphs? We have strange markings on the rocks out here on the mountain, and we have strange things in the sky. There has to be a connection. So I contacted them. I said, this was after everything. And I contacted him, and he took me up on South Mountain. We spent a few hours up on South Mountain. He was telling me a lot of crazy things that we'll get into later on in the show. And so, I guess my point is, this isn't anything new. This isn't just my story. This is not a theory, okay? These answers to the questions of what is going on in our skies today has been recorded before on the rocks around certain mountains, especially Phoenix. And I'm sure California has the same markings, same type of spirals, same type of anthropomorph. We'll get into that later on the show. It's the same story. These are the answers to our questions on what the Phoenix lights is, what these things that we see in the skies is today. And, watching these things for many, many, many years, okay, don't get me wrong. Spaceships, aliens, technology, that's fun, that's great. I have seen some things in the sky that could resemble a spacecraft, don't get me wrong. But I think with the majority of what the public is seeing, as far as lights and orbs and strange things, is something a little different. I discovered this in 2005. After I moved the news in 2004, they're telling me that I'm seeing flares. Well, I'm doing archaeology, I'm doing studies, everything's pointing towards the mountain. I went to the mountain and I found some answers. I guess I'm getting a little bit of this. So let's go ahead and push play. And so that's what the petroglyphs were. The petroglyphs was the exact same formation of the Phoenix lights on South Mountain. Here is the same shot, and that's the Australia Mountains. This is South Mountain, this is the Australia Mountains. These lights are right here in front of the Australia Mountain. And what the Australia Mountains stand for in Spanish? Star. Star Mountain. Isn't that interesting, ladies and gentlemen? Star Mountain. Here we go, and we have what look like stars on the mountain. Let's take a closer look. So what we're going to look at now is a friend of mine named Tom King. So he was a sky watcher, okay, back in the day, back March 13, 1997. He was one of the persons that filmed the Phoenix lights. You see all these other videos, you see that video that was the most famous one. But there were only 4 videos out there of these lights. So if thousands of people witness this, but only 4 videos, I don't know. Tom King was one of them. And let's go ahead and take a look at what Tom King filmed. And he was right there on the west side. And this is a better look at these lights.
They're lined up in a pattern, man. There's geometry behind this.
Actually, I never seen it. Look at that.
Man, this is...
No,
over here was 4.
look.
Over the top right now. I don't know, but I got it on tape. What does it look like, Bill? They look like... What do they look like? Like they're spheres before? Yeah, they're spheres now. Yeah, they just transformed into circles right now, right as you were talking.
So this is the Phoenix lights in 2004. This is what I filmed on the east side of South Mountain. Here again, same type of lights, no smoke, no fire. These are orange amber lights that are just sitting there motionless in the sky. And you know what? I filmed so many lights that year. And it just so happens that these lights were hanging over a major spot right here. I'm at Mason Community College. I'm up on the bleachers. Okay, and these lights are hanging out right in this area here. Right? They're coming in very slowly. They're not making any sound. They're not making any noise. They don't cast any shadows. Right? They appear over here, right? Ever so softly, and they're moving, ever so slowly, because they don't want to be noticed. Because if they're zigzagging around everywhere, everyone's going to say, wow, look at that, ooh, cool. No, these things are silent. They're moving slowly. And they're coming over to this area, and they're stopping, right? They're hovering right over this area. We're going to get into the reason on why they're there in this area. What is so special about that area? I believe that what we're looking at is not a spaceship at all. This is something completely different. Here again, on South Mountain, I discovered these petroglyphs, where it's the exact same type of thing that was seen over 1,000 years ago with the Hohokam Indians. So let's examine where we're at. So I'm filming the lights here. South Mountain is here. I'm filming the lights right here. So these lights are coming in this way. You're moving slowly, and you're coming right here, and they sit there, 10 minutes or so, maybe. And then they disappear. So what's there? Let's take a closer look at what's there. Let's go ahead and zoom in on that thing. A power plant. There's a major power plant right here. These lights are sitting right here at this power plant. Now, so I'm doing history. Right? I'm going like for a year, right? I'm up on South Mountain, so to make a long story short, so I'm filming the lights in 4. They're telling me I'm seeing flares. I'm saying, no, these lights are here. I'm saying, wait a minute, all the evidence is pointing to the mountain. I've got petroglyphs on the mountain, all right? And so for a whole year, right, this is before Ancient Aliens, this is before Skinwalker Ranch, this is before UFO Hunter Show. This is the reason why the UFO Hunter Show asked me to do the pilot for their show. I actually helped them get that show going, that and the Ancient Aliens TV series. I was involved in the pilot for that. And then later on in 2007, I ended up doing a show called Arizona Lives on History Channel. And so like this whole year, I'm finding all this evidence, right? And that's on the mountain. I'm hiking the mountain, I'm understanding the mountain, I'm understanding the Petroglyphs, I'm understanding the Native Americans, which are called the Hohokam Indians. Okay, we'll get into that here in a minute. And so, next, I'm going to the Phoenix Library, right? So what does the Phoenix Library has to say about South Mountain and Phoenix and this and that? Well, I found this folder, and in this folder has this map, and this is the very first map that the Pilgrims, when they first came back to Phoenix, Arizona, they made a diagram, they made a map, and this right here is all the canals. All these lines, because the Hohokam Indians were masters of the canal system. So all these were canals. And all these dots that we see here, all these dots, all these arrows, is pointing to villages. These are villages of where the Indians used to live at. It just so happens that this is the same spot where the power plant sits now today. This is South Mountain, so we're over here. I'm going to the lights here, Mason Community College. The lights are here now, right? And this is where that power plant is. The power plant's there also. And then what's the name of this? What is Las? I can't even pronounce that. Excuse me. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Why would they call this area death? Right? We'll get into that here in a minute. Maybe sacrificing was going on there? Fear of Phoenix lights, right? Because these lights have been always visiting that area for over 1,000 years. The Hohokam Indians have covered up history of Arizona. So, the archaeologist wants us to believe, well, the Hohokam Indians were just a simple, peace-loving race of people who lived here in the Valley of the Sun for over 1,000 years, making pots. They were the masters of the canal systems, and blah, blah, blah. And then one day, they just simply vanished, and because of the crops. All right, if that's the case, where did they go? There's no evidence of where these people went. They were here for 1,000 years, they conquered the land, and then all of a sudden they disappeared. You know what? When you and I moved, we take our belongings with us. But yet the Hohokams didn't. They left everything there and simply vanished off the face of the earth. Gone. Not just this tribe, but many other tribes at the same time were there for 1,000 years and disappeared with no trace of where they went. Archaeologists, I just don't think migrated somewhere else. No big deal, just got too hot and they left. I'm up on the mountain, I'm reading the Petroglyphs. And I'm understanding the Petroglyphs, and I'm getting a whole different story here. The story of the Hohokam Indians wasn't matching up with the archaeologists. On the mountains of Phoenix, on South Mountain, which back in the day was called Mount